In 2017, the Akufo-Addo administration identified that the banking sector was plagued with weak quality assets, weak management, poor corporate governance, insider trading abuses, and a weak capital base. Thus, emergent insolvency problems were staring. The Bank of Ghana thus asked banks to raise their capital base from 120 million Ghana cedis to 400 million Ghana cedis. The Bank of Ghana further undertook a cleanup of the banking sector to ensure sanity. Its approach was to revoke the licenses of the non-performing or struggling financial institutions and appoint a receiver to take over the assets and liabilities of the affected institutions to be sold to paid depositors. The exercise began in 2017 when the licenses of the Capital and UT banks were revoked and their operations taken over by the GCB Bank Limited due to severe impairment of their capital. Some 5 non-performing banks were also merged into Consolidated Bank of Ghana in 2018. Then in May 2019, 347 microfinance companies also had their licenses revoked by the Bank of Ghana. The BOG, later in August 2019, again revoked the licenses of 23 insolvent savings and loans companies and finance houses. Then in 2019, the Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, revoked the licenses of 53 fund management companies, a few of which are to be restored after an appeal process. SEC explained that the process was necessary because of the company's failure to return client funds which remained locked up, whereas some of the firms had even folded up their operations. Since then, the process has been ongoing by the receiver to make payments to those whose funds were locked up. Although some amounts have been paid, others are yet to be paid. But critics of the exercise have accused governments of being high-handed and in some cases targeting some institutions with ill motives, considering that the money spent in the cleanup could have strengthened some of the institutions to stand on their feet for jobs to be protected. GN Savings, for instance, is in court challenging the revocation of its license. According to the research and advocacy group Danquah Institute, a video making the rounds on social media about a ploy by the government and some personalities to deliberately collapse some banks is deceptive. At a press briefing in Accra on Monday, 20 July 2020, the institute said although they do not know the source of the video, they believe it is consistent with the NDC's propaganda agenda. According to them, the NDC, which superintended over the rot in the financial sector, has no moral right to discredit the cleanup exercise and make political capital out of it.
Ladies and gentlemen of the media, we called you this afternoon to respond to a despicable video that is circulating about the Danquah Institute, the government, and personalities associated with the institute. The video makes wild and objectionable claims that appears to implicate the institute in a ploy to willfully collapse some banks. We wish to state unequivocally that the claims contained in the video you just watched are false, a complete fabrication and distortion of the fact. Though we do not know the source or the people behind the video, its content is consistent with the opposition NDC's propaganda narrative. And so we'll respond to it as such. The banking sector problems, what this government inherited, and what measure it has put in place to restore sanity are no secret to anyone. A total of 9 universal banks, 23 specialized deposit-taking institutions, 386 microfinance and credit institutions were barely hanging on in 2017 when the government assumed office. Ghana at the time risked total collapse if nothing was done decidedly different from the NDC John Mahama approach to resolve the challenge. Caught in the balance, however, is the deposit customers with the banks, about 4.6 million depositors, thousands of retail, corporate, and institutional investors were caught in the balance. Their monies have been stashed with these banks, and government and Ghana needed to do something about it. We needed, at the time, a bold and decisive leadership that was willing to prioritize the interest of depositors, investors, and the economy above all other considerations. Ladies and gentlemen, unless you are a mischiefpreneur, you know that a willful collapse of banks or financial institutions, as claimed in the video you just saw, is not the disposition of a center-right policy institute like the Danquah Institute or this government, whose policy bias is the growth and wellness of private enterprise, property and property rights, economic freedom, and the rule of law, among others. I want to restate that for emphasis. If you know what the Danquah Institute stands for as a center-right political policy think tank, and this government with whom we share that ideological position, you will understand that it is not our disposition whatsoever to be the ones who collapse, to be the ones who undermine the market, to be the ones who at any given time will expend effort to undo the growth and the progress of the free market. So if you hear that, you understand that it is not from us, and it's actually a contrived propaganda